Our first impression of the city was that it was pretty quiet, especially when you consider that it was 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. So we decided to find some activity by the path that ran up the coastline of the city's harbor. If there's a place in the city that could give you some peace and a place to relax a bit, then look no further than the trail by the water. It's nice just to sit down on a bench or a rock and look out, because there's nearly always something to look out for. If you're lucky, you might even witness a sailboat race, like I did on one particular day. Anyways, at the time we were completely new to the city and didn't really know where to go. But we could see that the city wasn't completely inactive, but maybe just slow to wake up. Our decision to walk out by the water was a good one. We came across the beautiful and widely known Voyager Sculpture, which artistically represents a Viking ship made out of stainless steel. We also found the most beautiful building in all of Iceland. You could even argue Europe. The building is Harpa, a theater and conference center that has the most stunning architecture that I've ever seen. Its exterior is made almost entirely out of glass, and the building is controversial for how expensive it was to build in a time when Iceland's economy definitely didn't need such a large building project. But it doesn't matter, the architectural marvel is there anyways. We recommend it for tourists who need a place to hang out before you check in to your hotel. As the evening settles in and the northern sun still shines, the city becomes more alive. With a population of 220,000 for a relatively small city, we knew the people had to be somewhere. To finally see some crowds made us feel more comfortable in the city, and we enjoyed walking around in the heart of it. Actually, we walked around downtown a lot. We didn't expect there to be so many restaurants, art, and interesting details on the street. In fact, the central part of downtown alone has more than 100 restaurants, bars, galleries, and cafes. Really, we came to this country for its natural beauty, but we ended up loving the urban style of its capital as well. So here's a collection of what we saw in the main shopping and food area, and we hope you'll love it too.
honey, just don't make me see you last time without crutches.
For being the most northern capital in the world, it certainly brings a lot of charm and art that I haven't seen anywhere else before. To experience other parts of the city, however, helped us to see the other aspects of Reykjavik that were equally as interesting and lively. With the help of a city sightseeing tour bus that picked us up in front of Harpa, we were able to discover some other places we wouldn't find on our own. So we boarded the bus and put in the headphones to listen to what the English narration had to say, and see what else was special in this small and northern capital city. We decided to get off on about the 6th or 7th stop of the tour and visit the National Museum of Iceland. It was a bit further from the city center, but still a must for a city tourist. The entrance was welcoming and led right to the beginning of the exhibits. Admission wasn't bad at all, and the exhibits inside were very much worth it. They were filled with real Viking artifacts basically everywhere. It went through the entire history of Iceland all the way up to modern time. It's a wonderful place to learn some history, and maybe if you go out on a tour in the island, you might see one of the historical places mentioned. After all, Iceland has one of the best and longest fully documented histories. We waited for the bus so we could get to the next stop, which was the Pearl, or Perlin, a beautiful glass structure that sits on top of 6 of Reykjavik's hot water storage tanks. Inside there was a beautiful interior. A gift shop, an artificial geyser, a restaurant and cafe, and the most beautiful view of the city on the observation deck. Up there the force of the wind was magnified. I've said earlier that Reykjavik is a small city, but viewing it from the Pearl gave a wonderful panorama that makes one change their mind. And believe it or not, there were still plenty more places left around to enjoy. Each day we would find something new. It seemed like the place just slowly unraveled itself to us. The people were active, and luckily for us the sun was nearly always shining. We visited in the summer where the temperature was always about 55 degrees, so I guess this is the time of year where the people want to soak up the sun. We found ourselves near the Reykjavik City Hall, a rather interesting place. We only spent a brief few moments inside. There was some kind of convention or auction going on, but out the doors was a contemporary bridge sitting on the pond. The atmosphere felt very pleasant and calm, despite there being a busy street nearby, but on that morning it felt so relaxing just being by the water with families of ducks and thinking about how much we were liking this charming town. We walked around to the fullest extent for the time we had. In the beginning of our stay, the first impression was that the city was silent and cold, but in the end, Reykjavik was alive. It broke the stereotype that most isolated towns near the Arctic Circle are lifeless and dull, but this city was anything but that. The capital may not be near Europe, but it's definitely a modern, artsy, European blend of a place that doesn't let the weather bring it down. But for all the time we could spend in the capital, however, we needed to spend it on what attracts people from all over the globe, the natural scenery and history of Iceland.